All right. So, in theory, I have a setup now that should work for streaming. My PC is junk. I mean, it just doesn't have much horsepower. So it barely run iRacing. So asking it to stream or even record, screen record, and operate iRacing is just an impossibility. So you're right now on my MacBook Pro, and you see me through a webcam. Not the built-in one because it's garbage. It's a Logitech C922. Not the best picture, but my own fault wearing a black shirt on a black couch in a dark room. I did get one of those Elgato um, uh, Airs, the light box Air thing, which is why you can see me at all. It would be total garbage without that. And I'll work on the lighting. We can make it better. You see my other light right here, and it moves around a bunch because I've got a fan going. And if you've never played a bunch of iRacing, you may not realize this, but it's real nice to have a fan going. You kind of get burnt up. Let's see. Okay, so I'm in the Global MX-5 Cup car at Barber. Let's see. Maybe I... No, that's not a bad size. All right, let's try this. Ultimately, I could see cropping the screen a little bit, but sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take you guys for a few laps around Barber. Hopefully I don't totally embarrass myself. I got to remember the tires are cold. Um, and I got you get used to not being able to hear it very well with these headphones on. I don't have a good streaming setup. I'll get there. So this is just a nice, normal, dry day at Barber. Barber's actually coming up soon with Just Track It. And so I want to keep fresh. iRacing doesn't have a ton of different cars, but the car models are supposed to be pretty accurate, so it's still good training. My graphics settings could be improved. There's no bridge there, which is a little frustrating. It's got the museum though. Lift for the kink on cold tires. I'm a little bit probably too digital throttle in this car just because it lets me get away with it. Cold tires, wow. Alright, first complete lap. I try not to cook it in turn one, first thing out, so probably leaving something on the table there. I'm watching here, looking to tighten up that apex. Open the wheel. Straight over the hill towards the tower. Bring it back to the right. Braking zone sets up on the right into Charlotte's Web. Overshot that. Not terribly though. Clearly not bad. I'm getting good times so far. Fresh tires help. Brake just for a moment, just to get weight down on the nose, down into second. nice and slow in, but carry your speed out of that turn. A little too off. Don't tell anybody. If you get your turn in early enough in the kink, you can carry it flat in this car. This is a tough turn right here. But if you do it right, carry a lot of speed, and then you tuck in really tight here, and you can carry a lot of that speed through. I've done that better. Second gear, really tight here, and what do they call it? 13, 15. I hear different numbers from different sources. This feels like a good lap. Just a little bit of maintenance throttle here. Lift, full throttle. I think if you do it right, you shouldn't do any lift. Maybe I gave it too much maintenance throttle in the middle of the turn there. Into Charlotte's Web. Lots of trail braking. I'm still overshooting my braking zone though. .143. That's not a terrible time. Slow in, fast out, right? Oop, offline for the kink, little lift. Yep, I paid for it. There we go. Faster through there. Four wheels on that curb. Probably could have carried a little more speed through that final turn, but I'm happy with that. Too early. Then you pay for it. But I got a 142. I don't know if I've done better than a 142. I've definitely gotten a 141 in my optimal. That's the line I shoot for. Don't always do it though. Alright, waterfall here should just be settle the nose, turn in, stabilize with throttle. Ooh, wow. Bad. And now I got a penalty. I can't always figure out how it wants me to serve the penalty. Such an odd thing. That was slow. But now you can see the proper line through here. Yep. Flat. Oh, early shift. Whoops. Alright, back to turn one. I just want to get the car rotated, then get back on power. But when I touch the grass like that, that really messes me up. There we go. This turn is all about how early you can get on throttle. You get on throttle early there, you're going to get a good exit, and you carry that all the way down this straightaway. It's really significant. Barber's one of those tracks that really teaches you to prioritize your turns. If you're not prioritizing your exits that lead to straights, you pay for it. And there's definitely turns that would that would lead you to believe you should carry a ton of speed in, and then you sacrifice those straights, and that's obviously not better for your times. I'm not quite comfortable enough on the sim to carry a good conversation and run my best laps, so forgive me. Brakes. Get the car rotated. Lift. Get the car rotated. Ooh. Yep. So if you get your wheels straight right before you go off, it's pretty tame. If you can't manage to get your wheels straight, or you keep it jammed up, then as soon as you re-enter the pavement, it's a bad day. Actually, that's something I wanted to do, is kind of showcase how things go wrong. So, turn 1, you just understeer off the course. I mean, you pretty much see me do that every lap, so I don't need to show that off. This turn, you get on throttle too early, and you're like, oh, I can't make it, I can't make it, I can't make it. And you can end up pushing off there at the very least. You probably overslow, or maybe even more subtle than that, you just burn up extra tire. You don't need to. This turn's all... The temptation here is just to underbrake and overshoot the turn. You go out wide, I mean, you travel a larger distance, it's slower. This turn, it's easy to overshoot, which I pretty much did there, only a little bit. You can overshoot to the left on this turn as well. Less tempting to do so. Now the kink, if you don't start it right, see I started wide, I have to lift to make it work, and then watch my ghost replay just like run away. Now here's the temptation on this one. You're like, oh, I can carry a ton of speed in, and then I just take care of it up here, and then you end up running off. Really easy to do. This turn is terrifying in real life. I'm constantly like, oh, I'm gonna run out of pavement, I'm gonna run out of pavement. And then if you don't slow down, you're gonna be super wide here, which seems okay, except now you're doing this extra motion, which means less speed on the front straight, and later on throttle, which is what causes less speed going onto the front straight. So those are some of the common issues here. Be real easy to overshoot one. I've played around with this. I can't tell if I like it better. I go wide, and then that gives me a much earlier on throttle. And compared to my other quick lap through there, like I picked up time, but I also gave up a lot of time to begin with, so I'm not sure that's better. In theory, it's probably not. But it's, again, we're talking about sacrificing a double turn versus the exit onto a long straight, so you know, it's a lot of this stuff is non-obvious. In a sim, what's cool is you get your your data is real time. You see your lap times, you see your sector deltas. You can watch your best sectors in the form of a ghost car. I mean, these are not things that you can do in real life, and they really help you out. So if you're actually out there on the track, um, you're going to have to rely on data between sessions probably to really get this kind of information and be able to analyze your driving and make adjustments. Because a lot of it, just seat of the pants is not going to get you there. Seat of the pants is going to sometimes tell you wrong because you hear more revs and therefore you're faster. Well, gear shifts cost time, right? So you think, hey, I'm gonna downshift here, and it sounds so much better coming out of the straight. But then you look at the data, and you lose a tenth from having 2 extra shifts. and you only pick up half a tenth, and 2 extra shifts to potentially get slightly wrong and lose more time. So you really got to trust the data for that sort of thing. On the sim, that's a quicker feedback loop because you might find that out right away. In real life, a little more difficult, but still very doable. Get a good data system. Again, talking about feedback loops, that's why I like the Apex Pro. So if you are a track enthusiast or a racing driver, go check out the Apex Pro. It's a pretty neat option. Ooh, it felt fast. Ooh, touching grass. Yeah, the Apex Pro, the reason I say at the same time like it's good for quick feedback. Ooh. Oh wow. I mean, happy to not put it in a wall, but that was slow. The neat thing about the Apex Pro is it shows you how much grip potential you're using and how much opportunity you're leaving on the table in real time. And then the fact that it has an iPhone app to analyze the data, and the data is being stored on your phone in real time. When you hop out of the car, you just hit save, and then you go pop in and review your data. Go look at your speed trace. Go find your min speeds in corners. Go focus on, go find your max speed in the straights. Can you move up your braking distance? Look at your lap times, just in general. All that data is immediately available. So a lot of times in these track days, I'm hopping out of a car and then I'm hopping into a student's car. And I have very little downtime, so if I can look at my speed trace and in 5 minutes make a determination of something I should change about my driving, I'm going to get it done. If it's a 20-minute ordeal, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen until the hotel. And if you're at a one-day event, it's not going to happen at all. So I've got an AIM Solo 2 DL, and it's an awesome device. And it gives you your deltas in lights, very similar to iRacing, which I think is amazing. But to look at the data, oh wow. To look at the data, you have to have a Windows PC. You got to download that data over Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi that the device generates, not like internet Wi-Fi. And then work with this archaic software to get data. Now it is a little more powerful. There's more things you can do, like create math channels, which is pretty cool. But again, this isn't happening in 5 minutes. It takes me 20 minutes. I need to dedicate that kind of time to be able to analyze that data, and that's just not realistic. So I end up not looking at it until the hotel, and a lot of my events have been one-day events, so I might as well not have it. I mean, looking at it, be like, hey, I should change this thing, and then, a month later, I've got another track day, but it's a different track. So it might be 3-4 months before I go back to that same track and can make those adjustments. 3 or 4 months between making changes to my driving technique, that's tough versus an hour or even less in the sim. Get a good data system. All right, hopefully this worked. Thanks.